Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. The room is pitch black, silent, and heavy. You are lying on your back. You try to roll over to check the time on your phone, but you can't. Your arms won't move. Your legs feel like they are made of lead. You try to scream, to call out for help, but your jaw is locked shut. All you can do is breathe, shallow and fast, and look around with your eyes. That is when you see him, standing in the corner of your room where the shadows are the deepest. A tall, solid black figure. He is darker than the darkness around him. He has no face, no eyes, no mouth, just a silhouette. But you can see his outline perfectly. He is wearing a long trench coat, and on his head, a wide-brimmed fedora hat. He isn't doing anything. He is just standing there, watching you. You feel an intense wave of pure evil radiating from him. You know, instinctively, that if he moves toward you, you will die. This sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? A bad dream that fades when you wake up. But for millions of people around the world, this is not a dream. This a very real, terrifying reality. This figure has a name. The internet calls him the Hat Man. And the most terrifying part isn't that people see him. It is that people who have never met, who live in different countries, who have different cultures and beliefs, all see the exact same man. How is it possible that a teenager in Ohio, a grandmother in Tokyo, and a businessman in London all hallucinate the same specific fashion choice? Why a trench coat? Why a fedora? If this is just a trick of the brain, why doesn't everyone see something different? Why do we all share the same monster? Welcome to one of the most disturbing mysteries of modern times. Today, we are going deep into the phenomenon of the Hat Man to find out what he is, why he is here, and why he might be standing in your room tonight. To understand the Hat Man, we first have to talk about the state of mind where he usually appears. Sleep paralysis. Science has a very logical explanation for this. When you sleep, your body enters a mode called REM atonia. Basically, your brain paralyzes your muscles so that you don't act out your dreams and hurt yourself. Sometimes, your brain wakes up before your body does. You are conscious, your eyes are open, but the paralysis switch is still on. Your mind, in a state of panic, tries to make sense of the situation. It hallucinates. It projects your worst fears into the room. That is the official scientific explanation. And for a long time, that was enough. It explained the demon sitting on your chest. It explained the old hag choking you, but it does not explain the Hat Man. Hallucinations are supposed to be personal. They are pulled from your own subconscious. If you are afraid of spiders, you might see a giant spider. If you are afraid of intruders, you might see a burglar. But the Hat Man is specific. He is consistent. He is almost like a brand. A massive survey was conducted involving thousands of people who suffer from sleep paralysis. They were asked what they saw. The results were chilling. Over 30% of them described the exact same figure. A tall shadow, 7 to 8 feet tall, a trench coat, and that hat. Always the hat. Some describe it as a fedora, others as a gaucho hat, but the silhouette is identical. How can a chemical misfire in the brain produce such a specific image across thousands of unrelated people? There are stories that go back decades, long before the internet allowed people to share these images. There is a story from a man named James in the 1970s. He was just a child. He remembers waking up and seeing a man in a hat standing by his closet. He wasn't scared at first. He thought it was his grandfather. But then he realized the figure had no face. It glided toward him, not walking, just floating. James squeezed his eyes shut and prayed. When he opened them, the man was right next to his face, bending down. James screamed, and his parents rushed in. The figure was gone. James never spoke about it until 40 years later, when he saw a drawing on a forum. It was the exact same thing he saw in 1976. But it gets worse. Usually, shadow people are passive. They just watch. The Hat Man is different. Witnesses report that he feels distinct from other shadow entities. Other shadows feel like background noise. The Hat Man feels like a general, a leader. Observers often say that when the Hat Man is present, other smaller shadow figures seem to be working for him. He stands back, supervising the terror. And he isn't always passive. While most reports say he just watches, about 20% of encounters turn violent. People report feeling pressure on their chest, not just from the paralysis, but feeling distinct hands choking them. They feel the fabric of his coat brushing against their skin. That is a tactile hallucination that is incredibly rare and incredibly complex for a brain to manufacture on the fly. Let's look at the cross-cultural evidence. You might think this is a Western phenomenon, influenced by movies like Freddy Krueger or old noir detective films where men wore fedoras. That would make sense, right? Pop culture influencing our dreams. But that theory falls apart when you look at the timeline and geography. Reports of a figure resembling the Hat Man exist in cultures that have no connection to American noir fashion. In Japan, sleep paralysis is called kanashibari, which translates to bound by metal. While they often see different spirits, there's a rising number of reports of a tall, dark foreign figure watching from the doorway. In the Middle East, the jinn are smokeless fire entities that can take any shape. Many descriptions of the Korean, a type of jinn that follows you, match the shadow person description perfectly. But let's step away from the supernatural for a second and look at something even more bizarre. The Benadryl connection. This is a strange rabbit hole. There is a specific over-the-counter medication that, when taken in extremely high, dangerous doses, causes delirium. We are not encouraging this. Obviously, it is very dangerous. But reading the trip reports of people who have accidentally or purposely overdosed on this specific substance reveals something impossible. A huge number of them report seeing the Hat Man. Think about that. Sleep paralysis is a natural biological state. A drug overdose is a chemically induced toxic state. These are two completely different things happening to the brain, and yet they produce the exact same visitor. Why? Why does the human brain, when under extreme stress or altered states, dial up this specific phone number? Some researchers suggest that the Hat Man isn't a creation of the mind, but something that is always there. The theory is called the filter theory. It suggests that our brains are designed to filter out 99% of reality. We only see what we need to see to survive. We see food, danger, friends, terrain. We don't see radio waves, we don't see UV light, and maybe we don't see other dimensions. But when the brain's chemistry is altered through sleep paralysis, through trauma, or through substances, that filter breaks down. The curtain falls, and we see what is standing in the room with us all the time. The Hat Man isn't an intruder who comes in when you sleep. He is always in the corner. You just can't see him when you are awake. There is another aspect to this that is even more disturbing: the generational link. Many victims report that after they see the Hat Man, they find out their parents saw him too. There are entire families haunted by this figure. It follows bloodlines. Is it a genetic predisposition to a specific hallucination? Or is it a haunting? Let's talk about his behavior. Why does he just watch? Most of the time, he doesn't attack. He stands there, observing, like a scientist observing a lab rat, or a farmer observing cattle. Some theories suggest that these shadow entities feed on negative energy. Fear, specifically. The more scared you are, the more solid they become. When you are in sleep paralysis, you are in a state of pure, primal terror. Your body is frozen, your heart is racing, your adrenaline is spiking. It is a buffet of energy. The Hat Man might just be feeding on your fear. That is why he doesn't kill you. You don't kill the cow that gives you milk. He waits for you to be terrified. He consumes that energy and then he leaves. But there are cases where he gets closer. There is a terrifying account from a woman named Lisa. She saw the Hat Man every night for a week. Each night, he got one step closer to her bed. On the 7th night, he was standing right over her. She said she could hear him breathing. It sounded like a rasping, wet rattle. She mentally screamed at him to leave, and for the first time, he reacted. He leaned down and whispered something in her ear. He said, almost mocking her, "I am not done yet." She woke up with 3 long scratches down her arm. Physical evidence. If it is all in your head, how do you explain the marks on the body? Skeptics will say, those marks are self-inflicted, that she scratched herself in her sleep. And maybe she did. But the voice, the coordination, the shared appearance, it is too much to dismiss as coincidence. There is also a theory that links the Hat Man to the Grim Reaper. Throughout history, the entity of death has been depicted in robes or cloaks. In the 1930s and 40s, the standard dress for men was a suit, trench coat, and fedora. Some paranormal researchers believe that spirits or entities often appear in a form that the viewer will recognize as an authority figure. In the mid-20th century, a man in a hat and coat was an authority figure. A detective, a mysterious stranger. Maybe the entity adopted this form 80 years ago and just never changed his clothes. He is stuck in a stylistic loop, appearing to us in the guise of a 1940s noir villain. But what if he isn't a spirit? What if he is something extraterrestrial or interdimensional? There are physicists who believe in the multiverse, that there are dimensions layered right on top of ours. Maybe the Hat Man is an explorer from one of those dimensions. Maybe their technology allows them to shadow walk into our world. But because the vibration of our universe is different from theirs, they appear to us as shadows. They can't fully manifest, so they look like holes in reality. The hat and coat might not be clothing at all, but the shape of their protective gear or their natural form that our brain interprets as clothing, because that is the closest reference point we have. Let's go back to the feeling of pure evil. Almost everyone mentions this. It is not just fear of the unknown. It is a deep, instinctual knowing that this thing is bad. It hates you. It wants to hurt you. It is a predator. We humans have instincts that we have forgotten. We can sense when a tiger is in the grass. We can sense when a storm is coming. Maybe this feeling is our primitive survival instinct reacting to a predator that we cannot fight. If you are watching this and thinking, I have never seen him, so I am safe, do not be so sure. Many people do not remember their sleep paralysis episodes. You might be waking up tired, drained of energy, feeling anxious for no reason. You might be seeing him every night and forgetting it the moment you fully wake up. Or maybe he is standing behind you right now. Try this tonight. When you turn off the lights and the room goes pitch black, take a photo of the corner of your room with your phone. Turn the flash on. See if you catch a shadow that shouldn't be there. See if you see the outline of a brimmed hat. The phenomenon of the Hat Man is not going away. In fact, as the world gets more stressed, as anxiety levels rise, reports are increasing. He seems to be drawn to turmoil. He seems to be drawn to broken homes, to people suffering from depression, to people who are lonely. He is the ultimate parasite of human suffering. So, what can you do if you wake up tonight and you can't move? What can you do if you see that tall, dark silhouette standing by your door? The experts say, do not panic, wiggle your toes. Focus on moving one small part of your body. Break the paralysis. But the victims say, do not look at him. Do not acknowledge him. Do not give him the fear he is hungry for. Close your eyes. Pray. Think of something happy. Starve him. Because the only thing scarier than seeing the Hat Man is realizing that he has been watching you sleep for years, and you are only just now noticing him. Good night, and try not to look into the corners.